W²AV Talk with Demetris Curry. Here's your gateway to discovering the formula to a more gratifying life with the accountability you need to start and stay energized, inspired, and on top. Author and wealth strategist Demetris Curry is a nationally leading voice and go-to authority on insurance and financial literacy. Got questions about your finances, relationships, healthy living, or professional life? W²AV talks about it all, along with tips to enhance your overall well-being. W²AV Talk with Demetris Curry.
Hello, everybody. This is Demetris Curry coming to you with yet another wonderful Authors Unite segment. So we talked about this in previous Authors Unite segments and episodes, and we always answer that burning question. Why are we talking to authors? And what are we learning? Well, here it is. W²AV Talk is sponsoring Authors Unite, and we decided to pull something together where we can get to know the author behind the amazing book of work that they have put out into the media and to the retail stores. Who is this author? And what brought them here in this place at this specific time to release the piece of work and why they thought it was so important? So we are here today with Miss Vonnetta Mayo. I tell you, the girl is on fire. I'm so excited to have her here with us today. And we're going to talk about what she's done in the industry, what she's doing now, using her book of work, and to also what brought her to this place. So I'm so excited to bring you on board, girl. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Hi, Demetris.
How are you?
I am great. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast. I'm so excited.
You're welcome. You're so welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. I was looking at your titles several months back, and I was like, ooh. She has a lot to say.
Yeah, there's a lot in those titles. Just the title alone is,
Just
self-explanatory.
Yes. Absolutely. So I'm going to give you the floor, and we just want to know, tell us about yourself and what you're doing and what made you bring this piece of work to the forefront.
Okay. And again, thank you for having me. And I love the theme, Authors United. I love that. And I'm so excited again to be here. Yes, my books are titled Joy and Sorrow, Hope for Tomorrow. And as I speak about them a lot of time, I tell them just the title alone is powerful. And I have to say, give all the glory to God. God gave me that title. It's something I would have never thought of, And it was like over 25 years ago when I was in high school, just playing around. And, I always have loved to write. So just writing, like, oh, I'm going to write a book, write a story. And the title just popped in my head. I'm like, Joy and Sorrow. You mean they just that part alone, just have joy no matter what you're going through. We all either you're going through something now or you're going to go through something later, but we got to keep joy. I know it's harder than what it is, but if you just keep joy in whatever you're going through and hold on for hope for tomorrow, because a change has to come, a better day has to come. And so it's all faith-based. The genre is religion and historical fiction. So it's about a young girl telling her story about her family experience as slaves on a plantation in Memphis, Tennessee, and how they made it through with their faith. So that ties all into the title. We think we're going through things today, but just imagine what they were going through then. It's a fictional story, but however, it is about history. And they just, kept their faith. They kept pressing and pressing. They tried to keep as much joy they could, during the situation and the circumstance. And I just wanted to let people know it is a very encouraging story. It's entertaining as well and also educating. So I just want to uplift people's spirit with that story. And then with my second book, Joy and Sorrow, Hope for Tomorrow, Homecoming, is, I don't want to give too much away, but the title alone is just coming home. And, but if you hold on to your faith and you don't give up and you keep pressing and praying, your prayers will be answered. So that's my whole focus on that story is faith-based and not giving up and just pressing and keeping much joy as you can to make it through that next day.
Wow, wow. And what I think what really draw me to this story is that, I love history. So, you basing it off of a historical, time and place where, things were going through slavery and things of that nature and how they had to press through. I was like, okay, I mean, that's really, really powerful. I actually love to look at some of the things that give me strength of our ancestors,
Yes.
and I use that a lot in, thinking back to my grandmother and my great grandmother and the things like that. And some of the things that I've learned from tradition from them is based off of things that they learned from
Yeah.
their ancestors and from their family. And so, it's like, you know what, this is really a really good piece of work, because not only does it tell a story, it also gets your mind to thinking
Mm-hmm.
about what could be, and brighter days, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
uh
Yeah.
so just like I absolutely love that. I absolutely love that. So with your book, there's so much that you could do with, and you probably are doing this already. I'm gonna let you tell us more about that, but it's just so much that you can do in a community with it, as far as
Yeah.
talking to students and things like that, and storytelling and stuff like that. I mean, it's just amazing. Tell us about how you've seen it actually impact others around you that had the opportunity to read it.
Yeah, so when I wrote it 25 years ago, then of course we were getting taught a little Black history in school. But as you know, my goal, and I rewrote it in college, and of course my goal was to get it published, but I got out of college, got busy with life, and but I always kept it on the shelf. So just last year during the pandemic, I got my first one published, and then after that, I got my second one published. And so it's I think, everything happens for a reason and perfect timing.
Yes.
So at this time, you hear a lot about history is not being taught in school, whether it's Black history or history, period. So I
Mhm.
thought this was a perfect time, to bring my books out. And at the time I was, getting it published, you know, I didn't think about it as much, but when it came out and just hearing, parents and different people talk about history not being taught in school as much anymore, I was like, this is a perfect time.
Wow.
God's timing is always perfect. So
Yeah.
I am signed up with a program in West Virginia, Read Aloud program, where you go to the school, volunteer your time, read books to their school. And I, emphasize to the lady, I do have my books of my own because they have their choice of books. And she was fine with it. So I am going to start that up, with the new school year. And for adolescents, my books are like for 12 years and older. And just, just to read to them. And, like I said, it's educating, teach them a little about history, and, and keep history around, because history is history. You can't erase it. So I think the more knowledge people have, the better understanding you will have of different cultures and different people. And it also brings, to me, when you understand people better, it brings about a different level of respect for those people, because now you understand what they went through, what their ancestors went through, and what it took for them to get to where they are, and how their ancestors paved their way, for them to get there. So to
Right.
me, I just love that. I'm looking forward to reading to these children. And even when I do my book signings at libraries and community centers, I definitely emphasize and really speak to the youth, because it starts with the youth. So that's how I like to impact the community. Start with the youth, as you mentioned before,
Yeah.
and then it would grow from there,
Yeah, yeah, you're absolutely right. And you said something earlier that is so powerful. You said that you waited for years to release it, and so I did the same thing. I waited for a decade before I
Wow.
released a book for Brighter Days Ahead that I wrote. So I was like, wait a minute, I'm not ready, because sometimes you just have to be ready. You have to be
Yeah.
mentally ready. You got to feel like you're in a place and time in life that you're ready to put the work out there. And I was like, I'm not really ready. So when you said you waited so long, I was like, knock on wood, knock on wood. I
Yes,
did the exact
you
same
can
thing.
relate to that.
I
Uh-huh.
waited until I thought I was mentally and emotionally ready to put it
Yeah.
out there. And then when you do put it out there, people are like, "Oh my God, you waited so long to
Mhm.
put this out here. I needed this like 10 years ago. I should have read this 5 years ago. It probably would have changed my whole concept about, the career path, that kind of
Yeah.
thing." And so,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
you never know how impactful you are until someone gets a chance to read your story. and
Yes,
go in on
yes,
that. You know what I mean?
yes.
And so it's just amazing that you did that, and then you had the chance to dig in. So when you were actually writing this story, you said it was 25 years ago.
Yes, yes.
Woo!
25 years ago, like senior in high school, I'm telling my age now. And I'm just, like I said, just playing around because I love to write. I actually started off writing poetry, like in church and, writing poems. Like, oh, okay, I like writing. I was like, okay. Then I was like, well, let me venture and see if I can write a story. So I wrote it and never done anything with it until I went to college and I minored in literature and writing.
Okay.
And I submitted it. I rewrote it, submitted it for my final grade. Still have the manuscript. The professor wrote in there, "Good luck with getting it published." And like I said, you get out of college, and I just totally got busy with life and working. But I always kept it on my shelf. That's why I tell young people, don't ever give up on your dreams. It may not happen, when you want it or how you think it should go, but don't ever give up. Because here I am, 25 years later. You
Wow.
know, you made good use of the pandemic. I was like, I'm gonna sit down, I'm gonna rewrite this story, and I'm gonna finally
Yes.
get this book published. So
Yes. Yes. And so I know that you're working with the schools and everything now. Tell us about what's coming up next for you, because I know you got some things hanging out. I'm trying not to give it away. I just know you got some things in the pocket that's coming out soon. But do you want to share a little bit about what you're coming up, what you're getting ready to do?
yeah, so currently, so I love fiction and I love creating the characters and the plot and the storyline. And I always just saw myself doing that because I was actually working on a third book to the series. As I was doing that, I went to this event and I encountered a mayor of West Virginia, former mayor of West Virginia, and I was blessed for her to ask me to write her memoir. So that's what I'm currently working on. A former mayor of West Virginia. I'm writing her memoir at this time. Obviously it's nonfiction. I never saw myself doing nonfiction. I was like, oh, facts. We kind of live in, real world. Well, we do live in a real world now, so I don't
Right.
really want to write about it. But you never know what's in store for you. So when
Wow.
she asked me that, I couldn't turn it down. So that's my big project I'm currently working on now, is writing the memoir for a former West Virginia mayor.
Wow, that's actually an amazing. That is
Yeah,
amazing. Congratulations on that. I mean,
thank
that's gonna
you.
probably be
Thank you.
huge. That's gonna
Yes.
probably be really huge. And by the time they finish putting out, all of the advertisement and marketing and things like that, whatever, you never know that thing if they put you on a map in a whole nother type of dimension. Hello.
Yes, that's true. I
Hello.
am definitely open for it. Yeah, well, as the door is open, we just got to walk through it.
You gotta walk on through it. You gotta walk
That's
on through it.
it.
But I tell you that this is really a great time for people to start understanding that where we've been is not necessarily where we're going, right?
Yes, yes,
And where we are a people is really evolving, really evolving. I think back to my grandmother who was had Indian accent into her as well, and so she would always tell me, hey, you need to make sure that you're learning not only this part of life, but that part of life. You're learning all these different cultures. You're learning all these different things about your ancestors, and you're learning, what all they had to do. I still have her cornbread roll. I still have her cornbread roll. My grandma passed years ago with Alzheimer's, but one of the things that we used to do when I was a kid is that we would make cornbread together.
Oh, wow.
And she had this big clay bowl
Mm.
that was made out of clay.
Oh,
And it was not, one that you could buy in a store. It wasn't smooth. It wasn't polished or anything like that. It was just a homemade clay bowl. And it reminded me a lot because we would actually grind the flour and the meal and stuff like that together as a kid. And she said she used to do the same thing with her mother, my great grandmother. It's
wow.
sort of like,
Amazing.
you know what I mean? So you pass
Uh-huh.
that down, right?
Generations. Yeah.
Generations and generations. And so, when I start reading books that have to do with historical things that happen in our heritage and our culture, it makes me go back there in my mind.
Yes.
It makes me go
Yes.
back there in my mind and say, hey, oh, I remember when I used to do this with grandma and get on the pond and fish and do all this catfish and get the
Ooh.
pliers and pull back the skin off the fish and all this other stuff. And she used to talk about when she was a kid. when she
No,
was a
wow.
baby. And when she was a kid, so much was different in the world as far as where they could stand, where they could drink, where they could go,
Yes.
and always being afraid that, to get hurt or injured, that kind of thing. And so,
Yeah.
you know, I remember sitting there talking to her a lot about those things. And, slopping the hogs is what they used to call it.
Yes. Yes, I've heard my grandmother say that plenty of times.
What,
Yeah.
what you know about slopping the hogs, girl?
Yeah, she
Slopping the
does.
hogs and stuff, and
Mhm.
being able to, when you washing the clothes, no washing machine.
Oh no, that washing board. Are you talking about washing board? Okay, I know about that washing board.
No washing machine, okay? We're talking about one of those big old silver barrels, and they
Mhm.
have the little thing on the inside of it. I forgot what you call it. Have the little ripples on it, and you have
Yeah,
to
wash
wash
it.
the
Yeah,
clothes
board. Yes.
on the board.
Uh-huh.
Girl,
Yes.
yes, I got tired of doing that early in life.
I done it a little too. Mainly my older sisters and brothers did it for me.
Yes, all of that, so I got a taste of it. Because
Uh-huh.
my grandma was still old school. And so I had a taste of doing those things of, getting out in the field. Because my family come from the field. And
Oh, okay.
so they all, pick cotton and peas and
Yeah.
corn and tobacco and
Wow.
anything that grew out the ground, my family picked.
Wow.
And my mom was like the ninth one of 14 kids. And with all of those children, they all had bags on their back picking something, right? And
Wow.
then they used to actually work on a land for a couple across the street,
Mm.
but they had to do the entire land. All those
Wow.
acres of land they had to cover. And so back then it wasn't the machinery that we have now, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't
It,
it
it,
wasn't, having one of those big old machines that go in and get the cotton, and put all other
mhm.
stuff to the side. We've gotten really, really industrialized, since then,
Exactly.
right? But
Yeah.
so
Exactly.
so with all of that, I think back to, and this imparts with what your book was saying, is that how they had to push through the cuts, the
Mm-hmm.
bruises,
Yeah.
the I don't feel goods, I got a little back
Mhm.
pain. What? You got a little back pain?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
All of that we
Mm-hmm.
today take advantage of.
Johnny Depp. Yes.
um Now we're in a society now where, working hard is it's just not really a big
Mm-hmm.
thing.
Yeah. The work
But
ethic. Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yeah. Not was not there.
the manual labor thing is
Mm-hmm.
not really there, right?
Yeah.
But back then everything was a lot of manual labor. And so,
Yeah.
even we still have, things like manufacturing plants and things like that, but it's different than working in a field every day.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Right?
Most definitely.
It's different than being, a slave, okay?
Yes.
Working
Mm-hmm.
somebody else's land where
For
they
free.
reap the
Yes.
profits,
Yes.
right?
For free. Yes.
That
Mm-hmm.
completely different.
Yes. Yes. Most
Completely.
definitely. Yeah.
But you still, regardless of whether you was making the money or not making the money, you know, your body physically was still going through.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And
Yes. Yes.
so that's
Mhm.
what my thought is. And so when I get into those days, and I'm sure you like that too, when I get into those days where I'm tired and frustrated, and I've been working long hours, and I know that, I'm bouncing two different businesses. I have an insurance business, have a lending business, and now I'm doing stuff with the authors. Hello.
Yes.
And all these different
Minute.
things that you got,
Mhm.
you're juggling, right? All these different things
Uh-huh.
that you're juggling, you still have to, put yourself in a position mentally to say, okay, I may be tired, but I still have to push on a little bit,
Yes.
because
Mhm.
our push on is not like their push on. Girl,
No.
if I hit, they push on.
Okay. I know that's right. Yes, that's some stuff like that. Exactly. So it make you think twice. Yes, like, oh, it's not that bad. It is not that bad. Yes.
Listen, if I had their push on,
Yes. Just imagine.
girl.
Hmm.
And see, this is the thing. My mother's father, he actually worked on a field as well.
Oh
And
wow.
he lost his leg to a machine falling over on top of him.
Oh, wow.
So, but he was actually working the lands at that
Mm,
time for the owners.
yes.
Okay. So
Wow.
he ended up losing his leg. This is when he was a child. He ended up losing his leg much later in life because of that injury of it falling over. You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
didn't have the medical that we have
Medical
now to try
treatment.
to keep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So with all of that, I'm thinking, ooh, if he can get through that,
Yes. Yes.
or if what I'm saying,
Yeah.
or all my aunties and uncles at a young age can get through the blisters, the pricks on
Hmm.
the hands from the tobacco and the okra. Oh my God. The
Yes.
okra. My mom talks about okra and strawberries and still talks about how she hated picking those as a kid today. So you're talking about those things and it brought back those memories. And so I thank you for those memories. It just made me think back to where our families and our cultures have come from
Yes. Most
and
definitely.
and
Mhm.
what they pushed through
For
and how they were still able to have joy in their heart and be able to pass along good traditional thoughts to their ancestors and to their kids and to their descendants and everything. They tried to still pass those things on whenever they could to those that they loved. And that's what we are. That's what we are.
sure.
You and I come from that generation where we
Yeah.
were able to get some of that from our families, right?
Yeah.
And I hope and pray that others that come after us are still getting some of that, but it's different now, girl.
Yeah, it definitely is. I totally agree. And as you were speaking and I'm listening and I'm thinking about, you know, I mentioned about learning other cultures, but we have to learn ourselves as well and where we come from. And just you talking about your family history and your grandmother talking to you about history. You had history right there and learning from it. So you were privileged and blessed enough to have that. But as generations going on, that's why we need the literature out there. So now they're able to read about it. So it's good for them to first learn about themselves and be able to read about it because they may not have the history of the grandmother right there to be able to talk to them about it. So it's good that we do put these books out there so they
Yeah,
can know who they are and learn about their culture and where they came from. So I'm so
yeah,
glad that you shared that story because that's simply amazing. That's a blessing that you had that history,
yeah,
right there, and you learned about yourself and knew where you came from. And that's really one of my goals to get out as well. I want the children to learn about themselves and know where they came through, and
yeah.
hopefully, they learn from it. And like you said, we mentioned the work ethic and pushing through regardless of tired, sleepy, a little bit sick, or I just need a moment to myself. You got to push
Yes.
through it,
It's Their work ethic is different.
Yes, real different, real different.
Their work ethic is different. I just had that same conversation with a business partner like last Thursday or Friday, and she was trying to find her a new VA, new virtual assistant. And she said she just couldn't find anyone to drive in the way she drives in. I said, girl, that work ethic right now is different.
Yes, it really is. It's like, they got all these rules and on their terms and how they want things to be done. Or if not, they're probably not coming in. So
Yeah,
it is
yeah,
totally different. And you got all these reasons that they can call in or not come to work. You know what I mean? So there's a lot out there that's, really, I think, damaging the work ethic. So it
yeah.
is way different,
But you made a valid point as far as knowing our history
Mhm.
and knowing where we came from and me myself, I reflect a lot. I'm one of those people that reflect a lot, and so I go back and I think like what could I've done differently, what could I've gotten from that, what could I've used out of that. And then my husband laughs at me all the time. He's like, you still walking around here with that cornbread bowl? Yep, that's my cornbread bowl. That I don't want to make no other bread. I won't make nothing else. I won't make my bread in my cornbread
There
bowl
you
because
go.
it reminds me of making cornbread with my grandma and actually putting all that into an iron skillet
There
You
you
know, back
go.
then you would make a cornbread in the iron skillet. You don't know nothing about no
Oh,
iron
yes,
skillet.
I do. Yes, I do. That black iron skillet. You put that cornbread, the best cornbread ever, the best cornbread you can have.
That cornbread be about that thick, girl.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Boy, I give me some syrup and eat my
So he
cornbread.
laughed at me. He was like, "Oh, you gonna be like, I'm sure enough
Uh-huh.
is. I'm
Yeah.
putting out my cornbread there."
Yes, that's memories right there, boy. That is definitely
Yeah,
memories.
those are memories. But what I think of when I'm thinking about your book is that what I think of is that those wonderful things that we passed along, that was passed along to our ancestors, and that we picked up. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That probably gave you the heart at that time, 25 years ago, to put it on paper. You know
yeah,
what I mean? Um,
yeah,
of memories and things that you may have learned, and then not seeing us represented enough in society to be able to say, "Hey, this is our history. This is
yeah,
our culture.
yeah,
This is where we get our strength from. This is where
yeah,
we get our drive from. This is where the people that push through, like Harriet Tubman and all these other people that push through hard times
yeah,
make pave the way for where we are now. You know what I mean? And so
yeah.
I'm just like, wow, that is just crazy. That is crazy. I get passionate about that thing. Don't even get me.
Oh, you and me both. You and me both. I can talk about that all day long. People ask me, "Bobby, why did you write about that?" I say, I wrote about a one that can relate to today, just thinking about things you're going through today. But I wrote about it because I've always been passionate about history.
Yeah,
Growing up, I wasn't a big reader, but when you put a history book or, something about our ancestor about history, I'm
yeah,
reading all day long, so
yeah.
I've always been passionate about that. And to
Wow.
talk about it and to actually write about it, put it on paper is amazing. I'm honored
Yeah.
that I was able to do that because I love it. And I'm thinking I love it to share with other people because I think they should know.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
definitely my passion. Mhm.
Wow. Wow. I'm so excited that you came back here today, girl. Oh my God.
Yes,
Thank you
yes.
so much for coming to spend this time with us. I was like, wow, she is really just like pulled things together here. And I love that you actually, really went in on our culture itself and where we get that joy from, and where, that sorrow where it initially came from, but we built on it to where we
Yeah.
are today, and things like that. I just absolutely love that because it made me reflect. And
Yeah.
I think that's one of the things that I love. One reason I love talking to you authors about your back end story, about where you came from
Uh-huh.
and what made you put it on paper. It makes me reflect a lot on things in family and culture, in business, and no matter what the actual tone is, it gives me that, that's where that came from, or
Uh-huh.
yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So I encourage people to make sure that they connect with you, and we will be making sure we put all your information in on this particular recording, so they can make sure they get that book from you. Oh my God, it is now currently at Amazon, right? So I saw it on Amazon. That's where I actually saw it. So do you have other locations that they can find it?
Yeah, so it's everywhere books are sold, and it's also in your local libraries as well.
What?
And you can look me up. Yes, you can look me up on my author's Facebook page, Vondell 96, Vonnetta Mayo. So it's also on there. It has a button on there where you can click shop now, and it'll take you to the Amazon page where you can purchase that. But again, it's pretty much everywhere books are sold, and it's also in libraries. So I'm blessed to
What?
have that. Yes.
Look at you. Look at you. That is exciting. And congratulations on that too.
Thank
Congratulations.
you.
And thank you so much for being here with us today. Okay.
Thank you, Demetris. Thank you so much for having me. And you keep on doing all the great things you're doing. It's truly a
Thank
blessing.
Oh, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
Guys, yet another amazing author. I mean, 20, 25 years ago of writing this book and bringing it out, getting it published during the COVID. I mean, wow. So, and it's so funny that we just connected there, because sometimes you have to wait till you're ready to get it out there and do what you want to do. And so she did a fantastic job of doing that and talking about the culture of where we come from, and then the joy and sorrow and where we need to be and where we're going. And then so I'm just so excited for her. Make sure that you connect with her on all her social medias. And we are not finished yet. As you know, we will bring yet another amazing author to Authors Unite, sponsored by W²AV Talk. Talk to you guys soon. Talk to you, babe.
Thank you for tuning in to W²AV Talk with author and wealth strategist Demetris Curry. Connect with Demetris at demetriscurry.com and subscribe to the Demetris Curry YouTube channel today.